什么？ Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I'm speechless. Her mother is here. Would you please stand up, please? Please stand up. Listen, you and your husband need to write a parenting book. And when you do, let me know. I will be the first to buy it. My daughter, Delina, is a month old, and that is who I would love for her to see as she grows up. So, man. Somebody got this lump in my throat for some reason. My tie must be too tight. Phillip Cooley has invested in more than just a few businesses in downtown Detroit. Now, his heart and soul can be found in each new opening of Slo's Barbecue. Did anybody make it to Slo's while you were here? Slo's to go, as well as the beautification of the historic Central Michigan train station. Not to mention the study of success that is Pony Ride. In fact, my team and I shot a music video at Pony Ride that Phil and I were just talking about. Pony Ride provides inexpensive space for socially conscious artists and entrepreneurs to work and share knowledge, resources, and networks. I know I benefited from this project. Because beyond the bare bones, Phillip wants to build a stronger, healthier Detroit. In this great city, he sees growth. He does not see decay. And he sees hope for the future based on a history of strength and spirit. Please show your love for Mr. Phillip Cooley.
So thank you so much. I'm humbled to share this stage. How do I follow such an incredibly strong, amazing woman? I'm going to do my best, but there's just no one can. I personally moved to Detroit in 2002 after living and working in Paris, Barcelona, New York, and many other great cities. I was moving here to find like-minded people. I was looking for a democratic city where even somebody like me, very young and dumb, could have a voice and participate and learn and grow. So I started a neighborhood restaurant called Slo's Barbecue, as you heard, with a group of partners. It was really important because had it been just my restaurant, it would have been a disaster. But I had great partners that started this process, believed in it, and worked and fought hard to create something that was great for the community, hopefully, which I think it has been, and was also economically viable to do some of the wild things we wanted to do. So since then, I've opened a farm-to-table restaurant, Gold Cash Gold, with another group of partners. Thank you. And I've been able to kind of grow on the for-profit side, but far more important to me was how I could grow kind of the nonprofit community side. Because quite honestly, I was the worst general manager of Slo's Barbecue ever. I fired myself before they could fire me after 2.5 years. That's when we paid our debts off. And then I was able to go out and start working in the community. And so after these debts that were paid off, I was able to, slide please. After these debts, I was able to go out and help other folks, start their dreams, right? So you can see Astro Coffee and Le Petit Zonk and a recording studio and an art gallery. And these were really important to me because they were building community together. This was my neighbors. Like Le Petit Zonk is an example. Charles was a Black, Jewish, French guy who moved here from Brazil via New York. Like, whatever he wanted, I would do anything to get him to be my neighbor. So of course we built his tables and did his architectural drawings and pulled his permits for him, right? And then what we ended up doing also is started working in public spaces, right? So we really wanted Detroiters to be able to gather and be active in community spaces to work together, right? And the thing is, all of these things were really heavy lifts, right? I'm sorry, next slide, I'll show you an example. This is another example of heavy lifts. This is a community dinner that we hosted. It was a fundraiser. We hosted these for multiple organizations like the Ruth Ellis Center. Hosted these great dinners in abandoned buildings just to encourage people to start having conversations, learn more about the city around them, organizations like revitalize, but also the potential in the environment. Going back to the heavy lift in the public space, if you see this slide, you'll see, a very large landscape that many people got together and spent 2 months of their time, right, on creating this dynamic public space that encouraged people to come in and gather, right? And so, this is something that encouraged, great environments and personal own growth for our citizens and see their success. So, after all of this work and thinking about these great heavy lifts, what we realized that it wasn't about one person or a small group of people. It's about all of us, right? So I bought this building, Pony Ride. It's a 30,000 square foot building, and I got it for $100,000 from a bank. And because it was during the foreclosure crisis, so we knew that it obviously had a negative impact on our community. But what we said is we strove to see how it could have a positive impact instead, right? Because we need to have a future that's more inclusive, that is going to be about sustainability, not just a few. So often Detroiters are blamed, right, for the condition of this city, right? But the reality is they usually have to live with the ramifications of the devastation caused by millionaires and billionaires that don't live in the city that gain from these horrible conditions, right? We wanted to prove what we knew. Detroiters will save themselves when the environments that they live in become assets instead of liabilities. We lowered our rent to make sure that the barriers of entry were realistic. We have it as a 50% subsidy, and we surround them with more resources, most importantly, themselves, right? So we have this attitude, there's no walls in Pony Ride, right? We want folks to be able to communicate and grow together. It's not about hiding your talent and your resources. It's about sharing them and growing together, right? So these tenants, they sign a lease that requires them to give back to the community at least 3 hours a month. We find that to be really important, to know your community, to know your customer, to know your audience, right? So here's an example. It's called Moby. This is a project that Chris Morris from the Dirt label is working on. It's a mobile retail truck, and what's great about it is it's an opportunity for our youth to be able to realistically access a market without having to make some of the investments that I could afford to make, and I was fortunate enough, to make when I started Slow's Barbecue. This gives them a chance to learn about entrepreneurship and test markets and grow at a very affordable pace. And the most important thing to me about this project is the youth from our community actually built this. So here's an example. We also teach. I'm a professor at Lawrence Tech. So we have the community come in. It's part of these 3 hours, and they design and build these projects. Moby isn't just Chris Morris. It's the students that are sitting there saying, this is what our community wants. This is how we want to occupy entrepreneurship in our community. This is how we want to build a stronger, more robust entrepreneurial environment. So these students, as you can see, they just had an exercise in driving a Bobcat, which they really enjoyed, obviously. But they're learning, they're flying drones, they're building websites, they're welding, they're doing so much because they're completely capable. All I had to do was get out of their way, just give them the tools in order to be able to accomplish all that they can do. And so, this project also, I should say, Lawrence Tech is so generous. These are public high school students from Western International, one of the best schools, and you don't have to test in to get there. It's a exceptional narrative that more people should be having about our public school system. They all got 3 free college credits, and some of them now have taken the class twice, so they've received 6 free. Carlos on the top in the white shirt, amazing human being. He's on scholarship now. He just got a $26,000 scholarship. He graduated. He's a freshman now at Lawrence Tech, starting in the fall. These students are, becoming architects, engineers, artists, where, their teacher, as he explained it, the generation before were told they could be teachers or firefighters. If you look at Eric as an example, one of our tenants at Pony Ride, to see some of the successes, Eric was fired from his job and had only one passion and no skill to actually reach his goals, which it was denim. He had no idea how to make them, so he moved 3 sewing machines in, started working next to Veronica from the Empowerment Plan. They grew together, they learned together. Now Eric occupies 4,500 square feet on the east side. He employs 7 people, and he's at market rate. He's growing an economy, paying taxes, doing all the things that we need. Veronica Scott who I just mentioned, started this project, the Empowerment Plan, as a junior and at CCS. And when she moved in, none of those windows were there. That was part of her team, her volunteers coming in with us, installing windows, doing everything we could because we believed in it and knew she was capable, knew that the women that she employs were not just capable sewers. We've watched some of them grow up, collaborate with Eric, get paid for their designs, start their own businesses, volunteer in our community. There's so much more than just sewers. They're human beings that are making tremendous impact in our community and changing the dialogue of Detroit. Christian and Catherine just started, right? And they only hire men from our correctional facilities who learn sewing there. The resource of Veronica and Eric and their experience, and not just the garment industry, it's about diversity in every way, shape, and form. We need to also see technology participating in this conversation. We need to see business to business. All of these folks are learning from each other in a diverse, robust environment. So, you see him making t-shirts out of organically sourced cottons in a socially responsible way. And this was only possible because Veronica started this conversation 5 years ago, and it was giving him an opportunity to carry that torch on and build, again, a more broader community. Here's only half of the companies that are currently working in Pony Ride, participating. There are so many more that have been through there that have succeeded, that have grown, that have failed, but not failed in the way that we all think of it, in that kind of risk-adverse way, but in that growth way. They learned from their failures. They didn't have to sweep them under the rug. They grew from them. So please remember one thing in all that you do. Have fun. It's contagious. And remember how great we all are together.
Thank you.